Go, fight, win. The power of cheerleading. The baseball team was down by 3 runs. The crowd was getting nervous, and some people were starting to lose hope. However, the cheerleaders didn't give up. They screamed and yelled to encourage the team. Sweat ran down their cheeks as they danced. The team got their energy back and scored 4 runs to win the game. What a victory! The cheerleaders had made all the difference. The birth of cheerleading came at sports events in the late 19th century. In 1898, a U.S. student named Johnny Campbell became the world's first cheerleader at his university. During a football game, he stood up from his seat and went onto the field to lead the students in a chant. Since then, chants have been used to encourage teams all over the world. Over time, cheerleading has grown to include things such as signs, arm motions, and stunts. Today, cheerleading and its counterpart, cheer dance, are even competitive sports with their own events. Some colleges provide scholarships for cheerleaders to participate in their programs.
Hello everyone, welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
And I'm Nikki.
And today we are talking about cheerleading. Yay! We have a real professional. Were you professional?
Yeah, not professional, but in university.
In school. Wow, look at you. She's got all the moves down. So did you do it for competitions or also like at sports games, at like baseball games or basketball
mostly
games?
Competitions.
Mostly competitions. Very, very cool. And you were telling me that since you're little, you were always on the top
of the pyramid.
Wow, you're like the angel on top of the Christmas tree or the Nikki on top of the cheerleading tree. Was that fun?
It was fun, but it was very stressful because you have to use a lot of core strength to be like,
I'm sure.
But then you still have to keep your smile like,
oh yeah, that's right. You got to smile while they're lifting you up and holding your legs. Did they ever drop you?
A lot of times.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they like you?
No.
There's a question. Okay, but you never got hurt.
No, not really.
Wow. So when they drop, you don't actually land on the ground. Someone catches you. Or
no, but we always have those mats.
You have pads and mats and stuff like that. Okay, because cheerleading is more than just like go team, go fight, fight, win, kind of like we see in our title. It's a whole sport on its own.
Exactly.
Really, right? We think of it as just something that happens next to the sport that's happening, right? The cheerleaders are here while the team is playing, but it's a whole other thing, and it is actually much more difficult, much more competitive, and much more athletic than we would think. It's like gymnastics.
It is.
Really. It's kind of like team gymnastics. So there you go. So we're going to find out all about cheerleading in our article. Go, go, yay, yay, read the article now. All right, so let's check out the article. It says the baseball team was down by 3 runs. Oh no, it's a big game and there's a lot of tension. The team was down by 3 runs. If you say our team or we are down by some runs or some goals or some points, that means you're losing, all right? You're down and they're up. In other words, they have more than you, so you got to work hard, get lucky, and get those points. Or in the baseball situation, get those runs. It says the crowd was getting nervous and some people were starting to lose hope. This is kind of like that famous poem about Casey at the bat. And there was no joy in Mudville because mighty Casey had struck out. So it's the end of the game and you want to win, but your team is just not playing as well as they could. But you don't want the team and the fans to lose hope. And that's where the cheerleaders can really come into play.
那今天的课文要介绍啦啦队的世界。那啦啦队会在什么时候出现呢？通常就是在球赛的时候会看到他们。所以课文一开始就告诉我们，有一个棒球队现在落后3分，那观众就开始有点紧张，开始失去信心。
How do you say cheerleaders in Chinese?
啦啦队。
You know our teacher Laura, she's also called Lala.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So was she a cheerleader?
I don't think so.
Anyways, let's get back to the article. It says, however, the cheerleaders didn't give up. Yes, when the cheerleaders give up, you know that it's over. When the cheerleaders are like, forget it.
I don't think they'll ever
They start to go home. You guys are losers. That's a terrible thing. But that never happens because the cheerleaders don't give up. They're always shouting and jumping and yelling and smiling even when there's no hope. It says they screamed and yelled to encourage the team. It's okay to scream and yell at a sports competition if you're a cheerleader or just a fan, and we're going to talk about these two verbs right now. All right, to scream and to yell, we'll handle both of these words on their own, but they're kind of the same thing. To scream is to make a very loud noise with your voice, kind of like to yell. The difference, I think, would be with scream, it's usually really high. Ah! That would be kind of screaming. I can't scream very well. My voice doesn't go that high, but when you think of a horror movie and you think of that lady being chased by the crazy guy with the knife, and she's like, help me! That's to scream, all right? So it's a very high-pitched or very high kind of note in the voice, and usually it's done when you're scared, when you're in danger, when you're warning people about something. If you have a higher voice, it might come out as a scream. So let's look at this. It says, Malcolm screamed when he realized that a large spider was crawling up his back. Ow! Yeah, I would definitely not be happy about that. If I could scream like Malcolm, I would. Unfortunately, as I said, my voice isn't that high. So what would I do? I might yell. If a spider was crawling up my back, I would yell something like, I don't know, there's a spider on my back. So yelling is also using your voice at a very high volume, being very loud. It's kind of like the word shout. You guys might know the verb shout. You might shout at someone if they're in danger, if they're far away, if you want them to pay attention to you, or maybe just what is around you is really loud. And if you talk, people can't really hear your voice, right? So you might have to make your voice louder. You would yell or you would shout in danger, or maybe just so someone can listen to you when there's a lot of noise around. For example, the music at the concert was so loud that my friends and I had to yell at each other to be heard. If we talked in a normal voice, it would be impossible to hear the person.
但这时候就是啦啦队派上用场的时候 ，scream 是动词，指的是尖叫或是惊呼。When you scream, your voice gets really high, and you do so when you're hurt, frightened, or in this case, excited.
Yes.
那同时我们也看到 yell 一样也是个动词，指的是大声叫喊。那其实它和 scream 是异曲同工的意思，但是 scream 这个动作可以是没有文字的，那反之 yell 的话就可能是对人吼些什么东西。
All right, so now we know the situation. The team is losing. The cheerleaders are not giving up hope. They're yelling and screaming to get their team to score and win the game. And then we get another idea of what's going on. It says sweat ran down their cheeks as they danced. Wow, so if sweat is running down their cheeks or their face, that means they're hot and or they're just working really hard. If you're exercising or just out on a hot day, sweat could run down your cheeks. Here though, they are dancing. The team got their energy back. That's the baseball team. They got their energy back thanks to the cheerleaders and scored 4 runs to win the game.
Wow.
They were 3 runs down. Now they scored 4.
Cheerleading.
They are 1 run up. So yes, they can win the game thanks to the cheerleading indeed. And thanks to the sweat and hard work of the cheerleaders. What is sweat? It's basically what we call that water that comes out of your skin when you're hot, when you're working hard. It helps to cool your skin down, helps to cool your body down. If you're a doctor, you might call this perspiration, but most people would just say sweat. Can you hand me that towel? I want to wipe the sweat off my face, something like that. It's basically water that comes out of your body.
Salty water.
Salty water. It's very natural and it does help to keep your body temperature nice and safe. It says here, after finishing her workout, Olivia used a towel to wipe the sweat off her face. We should also mention this can be a verb too. So you sweat. That's the action of the water coming out of your face. And that water is also called sweat. So it's nice and easy. It's both what you're doing and what comes out when you do it. And here we talked about the sweat running down their cheeks. The cheeks of the cheerleaders are just this part of your face. They're kind of, they cover your teeth. They're there. They turn red when you're embarrassed. You put makeup on them sometimes if you want to, or if you're a man, you might shave the hair off. But this is basically your cheeks right here, this part of your face. Not that interesting. Anyways, Reggie's cheeks started to turn red when he asked the pretty girl out on a date. When you go out with me, you're pretty. And his face turned red because he was embarrassed and shy. Exactly.
那接着课文告诉我们，当这些啦啦队在场上的时候，他们看起来会是什么样子？所以在这里是名词，指的是流下的汗。那同时它也可以是动词，指的是流汗。For example, you're sweating a lot. There's sweat on the floor.
Wow.
那这些汗从脸颊流下来 ，cheek 是名词，指的就是脸颊，那也就是眼睛下面的这个部分。通常如果我们运动完或是脸红，有红润的脸颊，我们就可以说 You have rosy cheeks.
Oh, okay. Maybe you're happy. Maybe you're embarrassed. Maybe you're cold too. Your cheeks get red when you're cold as well. Anyways, back to the story. What a victory! Kind of like when you win, we could say, what a win, what a triumph. The team scored the points they needed. They won the game. When you win something, that's a victory. The cheerleaders had made all the difference. I don't know, all the difference. They may have made a lot of the difference, but the team also had to score.
Helped.
They had to score the points too. But yes, it was a team effort.
Exactly.
The cheerleaders, the team, and the fans probably pushed that team to do well, and they won in the end.
所以因为啦啦队的奋力演出，原本快输了的球队就突然士气大增，然后赢得比赛。Make all the difference 这个片语呢 ，make all the difference 这个片语指的是造成很大的影响，而这个影响改变是好的，是正面的。那在这边我们看到今天的文法 ，Let's take a look。那在这里我们看到 what 开头的感叹句，这个句型通常是用来表示惊讶、赞美或者是很开心的情绪。那它讲的会是 what 加一个 an 或是 a 形容词，以及最后是一个名词。那后面呢，原本接着的主词跟动词通常会被省略。所以在这边课文说 what a victory 指的就是这个胜利实在是太棒了，太惊喜了。那用来表示感叹的句子呢，还有用 how 开头表示。So for example, what a wonderful day 多么美好的一天，换成是 how 开头的感叹句的话，就会变成 How wonderful this day is.
All right, so now that we know what cheerleading is and how important it can be at sports events, let's find out the history of this interesting activity. It says the birth of cheerleading came at sports events in the late 19th century. Yeah, when we talk about the origins or where something began, we can use this word birth. We're not, oh, look, it's a cute little cheerleading baby. Oh, it's so pretty. No, it's just where it started, where it began back in history. So we could say cheerleading began at sports events in the late 19th century. So yeah, this is the late 1800s, more than 100 years ago. And in fact, we actually know the name of kind of the first cheerleader, which is kind of interesting to me. In 1898, a US student named Johnny Campbell became the world's first cheerleader at his university. That's a good name for a cheerleader.
I wonder how they know.
Exactly. I have no idea. But I imagine Johnny Campbell was a pretty cool, handsome, popular guy.
On his yearbook.
At his school. Do you think there's a statue of him? Johnny Campbell, world's first cheerleader.
Probably.
And he's got pom-poms, or actually they had those speaking horns, right? So you'd be like, come on, everyone, cheer for the team. Back in 1898, before airplanes, the first cars were on the road maybe, but they also had cheerleading back then. Very interesting.
那啦啦队的起源是源自于19世纪，有一位在美国的大学生成了史上第一位的啦啦队员。
Now, as you can imagine, cheerleading wasn't the organized activity we know of today. In fact, Johnny just was filled with the spirit of the moment and then became the first cheerleader, almost by accident. It says during a football game, this would be American football.
American football.
Right?
So it's the one that you...
Yeah, quarterbacks and throwing, not Lionel Messi, but, San Francisco 49ers and that kind of thing. During a football game, Taylor Swift's boyfriend. Yeah, that guy. During a football game, he stood up from his seat and went onto the field to lead the students in a chant. Go team, go. Fight, fight, win. Something like that. I wonder if the game was going on. I hope not, because he would just get knocked over by the players.
Yeah, true.
But maybe in one of the breaks during the game or one of the halftime or something, he went on the field to lead the students in a chant. Since then, chants have been used to encourage teams all over the world.
那时候是有一场美式足球赛，他从座位站起来，然后开始引领大家跟着他一起叫。那从那之后，大家就开始用这样的方式帮球队加油。Chant 是名词，指的是反复说、反复唱的词语。那在这边课文的意思就是大家一直重复叫一些什么来帮球队加油。Since then， 自从那之后，这里的意思是自从他开始这样做之后，全世界就开始有了这个风气流行。
All right, over time, so since 1898 coming up to now, over time or through history, cheerleading has grown to include things such as signs, arm motions, and stunts, among many other special things that cheerleaders do and use to get people excited.
Over time， 随着时间过去，也就是说过了一段时间之后，啦啦队这个活动还包含了一些标语、手臂的动作或者是特技表演。Stunt 是名词，特技指的是something that you most likely to see in a movie.
Action movies,
It's an exciting action that is sometimes dangerous and requires skill.
Exactly. If you see James Bond movies or superhero movies or action movies, lots of stunts in there. And I mean, lifting you on top of a triangle or pyramid of people, that's kind of a stunt for sure too. Today, cheerleading and its counterpart, cheer dance, are even competitive sports with their own events. So you will see them there on the sidelines of the game, the sport that's happening, but also you will see the cheerleaders in their own competitions, in their own events, trying to win their own prizes. Very interesting.
那到今天呢，啦啦队以及和他常常一起出现的啦啦舞蹈，甚至成为了有他自己比赛项目的竞技运动。Counterpart 是名词，指的是很相似的东西或是事物，又或是对应的物品。Competitive 是形容词，指的是竞争的、比赛的。It's something that involves competition. So if you're very competitive, you're eager to win.
Absolutely, and it is very competitive. In fact, some colleges provide scholarships for cheerleaders to participate in their programs. So colleges or universities actually go to the high schools in America, try to find the best cheerleaders to come to their school. I mean, we all know that they'll look for the best basketball players or football players to come to the university to play for the university team, but they do the same thing with cheerleaders, not just to cheer for the sports teams, but to be in the cheerleading teams and win their own prizes and bring glory to the university through their victories. So cheerleaders are just as popular and important for schools as football players and basketball players and others. Let's talk about this scholarship thing that we often hear of when talking about American universities. A scholarship is basically when a university says to a young person who's very smart or very talented, hey, we will help you to pay, or we will pay for you to go to our university. Now, in Taiwan and many other countries in the world, university isn't too expensive, so a lot of people can pay for themselves. But a lot of you might know that American universities can be very, very expensive, and for kids who aren't from rich families, it can be hard to go there. But if you do really well in high school, if you get really high marks in math or science or almost anything, or you're very talented at something like sports or music or whatever, the university might say, hey, you're so great, we want you to come to our school and study. If you don't have the money, we will help to pay for you. It might be to pay for everything, including your books and stuff, or they might just give you some money to make it cheaper for you to go to school. They give out many scholarships in America because it is quite expensive. In other countries, maybe not so much. But if you're really talented and get really good marks or are very skilled at something and you want to go to an American university, it's a good idea to find out if they have a scholarship that will help to pay for you to go to a school, help you save money, and maybe even go to a really good school that would be too expensive if you did it on your own. The scholarship can open all those doors and make it much easier for students to go there. For example, Wallace got a scholarship to study art history at a university in Paris. Wow, lucky him. All right, and we learned how they were giving out scholarships so cheerleaders can come to the university and participate in their cheerleading program, their cheerleading team. To participate simply means to join in, to take part in. There's something happening, some activity, probably with a group of people. If you join them and do that activity, you are participating, all right? So if there's, for example, a sports game, a sports match, and you're on the field playing, you are participating. If you're just sitting there watching, you're not really participating. So if you join in the activity, you're taking part, you're participating. For example, would you like to participate in a run to raise money for charity next weekend? Would you like to join us in doing this activity?
那甚至还有很多大学会提供奖学金给这些参加啦啦队的学生。Scholarship 是名词，指的是奖学金。There's a lot of different scholarships for students to apply in university. 申请奖学金，我们可以说 apply for a scholarship. 那你如果赢得这个奖学金，可以说 win a scholarship. 那 participate 是动词，指的是参加、参与。If you participate in something, you're a part of it, you're involved in it. 那若是参加者或者是参与者，我们可以称之为 participant， 它是一个名词 ，a person that takes part in a certain activity.
All right, we have our chat question to look at before we say goodbye. Here's a question. Where else can you watch cheerleaders perform besides sports events?
It's just universities.
Universities, right, in their own events. Are there other places we see cheerleaders? Sometimes I see them parts of pop concerts, right? They might have like a dance. I think Taylor Swift had a video with some cheerleaders in it or something like that. So you might see it as part of a musical performance or in a theater. But I can't think of too many other places. How about you guys? Can you think of other places you might see cheerleaders performing besides at a sports event? Have a chat about that. And we'll see you back here tomorrow with more about cheerleaders. Rah, rah, go, go. Come back tomorrow.
那听完今天的节目还学得不够尽兴吗？欢迎到空中家教跟老师练习哟。See you next time.
Go
Bye.
team. Vocabulary Review.
Scream. When Deanna's brother suddenly jumped out at her, she screamed and threw a book at him. Yell. The teacher was so angry that he started yelling at all the students. Sweat. It's good to bring a towel to the gym to remove the sweat from your skin after you exercise. Cheek. The mother kisses her baby on both cheeks each night before she goes to sleep. Scholarship. Jill is happy that she has her scholarship because it means she doesn't have to pay for her studies. Participate. Jimmy is a quiet boy who doesn't like to participate in large school events.
智慧小补帖。
Chant. Stunt. Counterpart. Competitive.